Glitter. The one thing that always shows up randomly, and the one thing you can never ever get rid of in your lifetime, no matter how hard you try. Humans are naturally attracted to shiny things, and I'm definitely one of them. From the roll-on glitter from the 90s that I used to use all over my body for our middle school dances and roller rink, to going through the 2000s rhinestones and glitter era. I think some call it the McBling era, or part of the Y2K aesthetic. I call it the MySpace era. I can see why most millennials nowadays have become fans of colors like beige, although I'm still obsessed with all of shiny things and all of that. Anyway, I say all of this because I would have never thought that I'd ever utter these two words together in my life. Glitter conspiracy. And this all became a conspiracy after an interview with a Glitter X representative who said they couldn't tell the reporter who the biggest purchaser of glitter was because they don't want you to know that it's glitter. No one ever thought twice about glitter being more than, well, just glitter. But this interview put the internet into a frenzy, and then it gained traction on TikTok after one account, and I'm not sure if I'm saying this properly, Chuppel, posted a reenactment of the interview, and that is how Glittergate, or the glitter conspiracy, was born. Let's dive into the conspiracy theory behind glitter. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be discussing the conspiracy theory behind glitter. Now, I know I've been kind of on a conspiracy theory kick over the last few videos that I've had, but because of that, my algorithm just kind of keeps feeding me those types of videos or topics or whatever. And there was one video that was recommended to me by the channel that, I'm not sure if I'm going to say this properly, but I will put it up on the screen, and I will also link their video below. But Chuppel, their video was recommended to me about the glitter conspiracy or Glittergate, whatever everyone is calling it. And then I just went kind of down a rabbit hole. And I know that this gained traction on TikTok a little while ago already, but I'm not really that active on TikTok, so I never saw it show up and I never heard about it until recently. However, I did find out that two of the biggest glitter companies are actually headquartered in New Jersey, and I am a Jersey native. And also, on top of that, one of the companies is near a town that I used to pass by every single day to go to work. So I just found all of this super interesting, and I felt like I just wanted to make a video about it. If I do get anything wrong in this video, or if I'm missing some kind of information, please leave it in the comment section below, and I'll either pin your comment, or if there's multiple comments that are giving more information, I'll just write a big comment and pin that comment. But first we're going to go over the history of glitter, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the conspiracy theories, and all of the chapters for this will be listed in the description box below. The history of glitter goes all the way back to prehistoric times, and glitter was made from different types of materials, including stones such as malachite and mica, in addition to insects and glass. Glitter was used in clothing, arts, crafts, cosmetics, and body paint. Modern day glitter is usually manufactured from the combination of aluminum and plastic. And due to modern day glitter being rarely recycled, it makes its way to habitats that get ingested by animals, and some leading scientists have wanted to ban plastic glitter, which is something I actually have seen people talking about, and I've even seen people making their own glitter or confetti to throw at their weddings, and they make it out of things like leaves or materials that are biodegradable. And I mean like hole punching leaves, which I thought that was such a smart idea. Anyway, back to the whole prehistoric times and glitter being used back then. The modern English word glitter actually comes from the Middle English word glitterin, and some have said possibly by way of the Old Norse word glittra. Say that 5 times fast. About 30,000 years ago, mica flakes were used in cave paintings, and it's believed that prehistoric humans have used cosmetics that were made of powdered hematite, which is a sparkling mineral. Ancient Egyptians produced glitter-like substances from crushed beetles along with malachite crystal. And there's actually a fun little fact that I have about this, because if you don't know, you can actually see it, I think, over here on this side of the, and a little bit over here actually too. But I'm a plant fanatic. I have what I like to call an indoor jungle. And because of that, I've come across so many really interesting things and just cool things about plants, nature, and all that kind of stuff. But I also do collect some cacti. So I have quite the cactus collection at the moment. But when looking into like Reddit forums to find out like, oh, what's wrong with this plant? What's wrong with that plant? But I ended up finding out that there's this type of bug that basically it goes onto a cactus. I forget the actual name of it. If I remember after I make this video, and if I put it up in like editing mode or something, I'll put the name up somewhere on the screen. But there's some type of a plant pest that attacks the cactus. But the interesting part about it is that that plant pest is used to crush up, and I think it makes like a red color or something, so it used to be used in cosmetics. I'm not sure if it still is today, but I thought that was super interesting, especially because we're talking about crushed beetles right now. But anyway, let's get back to the history of glitter. Some researchers have said that the Mayans painted their temples with red, green, and gray glitter paint from mica dust. Thanks to some infrared scans, you can still find some remnants of this glitter paint in present day in Guatemala. About 8,000 years ago, people of the Americas were using powdered galena, which is a form of lead, for a bright grayish white paint that would glitter. Mining for galena was prevalent in the upper Mississippi Valley by the Cahokia tribe, and this was for trade for either the raw galena or galena that was crafted into things such as beads. If we move on to modern day glitter, it's found in so many different items. At the time of researching for this video, I did actually have glitter nails, and my makeup currently has glitter in it. I personally love glitter. I mean, I use that glitter roll-on stick thing from the 90s almost every single day until it would run out. When you think of glitter, you might think of it just being a very simple substance, or you might even think that it's really easy to make. But the reason why it's used in so many different things and industries is because modern day glitter is actually made by precision cutting. In addition to that, modern plastic glitter was invented by a machinist by the name of Henry F. Rushman. It was actually an accidental invention, which I thought was also very interesting, but Henry was using a machine that cut photo film and paper in the 1930s, and the machine happened to stutter, which accidentally made small pieces of glossy cellulose that the employees eventually cleaned up and decided to go ahead and bring it home to use as fake snow to decorate their Christmas trees. I think this story is actually pretty cool because glitter was an accidental invention, and I don't think anyone would have predicted just how big glitter would be in modern time and just throughout the years. I mean, yes, it goes back to prehistoric times and using different types of minerals for a shine or a glitter, but the fact that modern day glitter was an accidental thing, and now glitter is in so many different things. According to one source, quote, with his partner, Harry Goetz, Rushman cut mica into washers and glitter from metallized cellulose acetate film. During World War II, glass glitter became unavailable, so Rushman found a market for scrap plastics, which were ground into glitter. In 1943, he purchased Meadowbrook Farm in Bernardsville, New Jersey, where he founded Meadowbrook Farm Inventions in 1948 to produce industrial glitter. MFI became Meadowbrook Inventions Incorporated in 1953. Rushman filed a patent for a mechanism for cross-cutting films as well as other glitter-related inventions. Substrates for cutting glitter expanded from metallized cellulose and aluminum foil to metallized and iridescent film, polyester, PVC, and laminations cut into various shapes, end quote. Here's another little fun fact. Quote, the glitter produced was supposed to be a side business that could help support the farm's operating costs for breeding and milking cows. However, this turned into its own company called Meadowbrook Inventions, end quote. So, as I said earlier, I am originally from New Jersey, and it was very interesting for me to find out that the place where glitter was invented was actually in a town that wasn't too far from where I grew up. And as I already said, I passed that town to go to work for many years and never knew that that's where it was. But something that I found so interesting about Henry Rushman Sr. was his background. I did find what I believe is his obituary, so I did want to go ahead and talk about a few things that were listed in there. Quote, Mr. Rushman was born in Frankfurt, Germany, and came to the United States in 1926. He lived in Irvington before moving to Bernardsville in 1943. During World War II, he worked on the Manhattan Project, which developed the first atomic bomb as a civilian for the U.S. government. He was the founder and owner of Meadowbrook Inventions, a firm specializing in the precision cutting of metallic films, paper, and foils, which moved from Maplewood to Bernardsville in 1959. Mr. Rushman held 2 patents for machinery that cut foils. To me, it's kind of mind-blowing to read all this because I know exactly where all of these towns are. But anyway, there are many companies that manufacture glitter, but the 2 main companies are GlitterX and Meadowbrook Inventions. Both of these companies are headquartered in New Jersey. There was one article that I was reading when I was researching for this, and the author of it kind of made it sound as though why would there be manufacturing companies in New Jersey? And they kind of made it seem like, I don't know, just the way that it was worded, maybe it just wasn't worded correctly, or it just came off a certain way. But I actually, even though knowing that glitter was invented with Henry Rushman and that they were are headquartered in New Jersey, that portion of it is surprising to me because of how the invention of glitter was an accident and everything. But knowing that there are manufacturing companies in New Jersey is not surprising to me whatsoever. Fun fact, M&M Mars is actually located less than an hour from where I grew up, and it's also located in the same town where I went on to go to college, which shout out to Centenary University. I don't know if anyone here knows of it, but if you do, that's a very small world. But in addition to that, Johnson & Johnson, Nabisco, Novartis, Lockheed Martin, Benjamin Moore, and more companies all manufacture in New Jersey. Markel Paper was also in Elmwood Park, but unfortunately several years ago a fire had burned the place down and they are building a new building now. Anyway, here's a very brief history lesson to back up my thoughts on New Jersey and manufacturing and stuff, because I guess the author didn't know about New Jersey once being a manufacturing hub. So in case you didn't know, let's go ahead and just get into it. New Jersey was home to a lot of the manufacturing side of certain companies. During colonial times from the late 1600s to the 1700s, there were a number of manufacturing industries that were in New Jersey. Amongst those companies were glass manufacturing companies and paper mills. Actually, one of the oldest documented paper mills in New Jersey was in Elizabeth, which was owned by William Bradford. One of the first glass manufacturers in New Jersey in 1738 was owned by Caspar Worcester. Then came the American Revolution, and afterwards there was a focus on manufacturing in the United States. Quote, this renewed focus in manufacturing was due to Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton's 1791 report on manufacturing, which laid out the arguments for encouraging manufacturing in the United States. Hamilton was so passionate about increasing industry in the United States that he heavily invested in the Society for Establishing Useful Manufactures, SUM, which focused on developing manufacturing. This group and Hamilton would eventually choose to build manufacturing facilities on a small plot of land in northern New Jersey and named it Paterson, so they could gain support from the then Governor Paterson. Despite SUM's efforts to make Paterson a manufacturing city, the facilities they established would only last until 1796 and manufacturing somewhat stalled. Though Hamilton's Paterson project was not a success, Paterson would eventually become a major manufacturing center by the 1820s for New Jersey. In the following decades, Paterson and other industrial centers would see a boom in manufacturing and find New Jersey supplying many manufactured goods to the rest of the country, end quote. And interestingly enough, Paterson was known as the Silk City. A little side note is my husband and his family actually had a business in Paterson, but, and also another fun fact, Fetty Wap is actually from Paterson. Anyway, after 1815, there was an advancement in manufacturing when it came to the commercialization of inland farming. This would increase demand for different manufactured goods. In turn, this would also lead Paterson to having so much growth with factories, mills, and forges that by 1827 it had become a manufacturing city of 6,000 people. By 1830, Paterson would see even more growth due to them having 17 cotton mills that were producing around 5 million yards of cloth. Due to this growth, the inventor of the repeating rifle, Sam Colt, would open a gun mill in Paterson in 1835. And yes, this is the Sam Colt that is referenced to in the show Supernatural, and the magical revolver that could kill demons and almost anything in existence that they would call the Colt. Alexander Hamilton had seen his dream come to life, but then Newark, New Jersey, which in present day is only about 15-ish miles from Paterson, but Newark would also become one of New Jersey's most famous manufacturing centers, which there also is an airport in Newark, New Jersey, and every single time that we would go to fly back to Poland to visit my family, we would go to the airport and I would always see the Anheuser-Busch little logo thing on one of the buildings when we would be driving into Newark, that area. Something that I did not know about Newark is that in the 1660s it was founded as a Puritan settlement, and it was to be an area to revolve around agriculture and devoting oneself to God. Quote, Newark had emerged as one of the main hubs from which New Jersey's agricultural products shipped to New York to either be used by locals or shipped to different markets. The reason this occurred was due to the town's proximity to Lower Manhattan and the development of roads that were able to make Newark a good stopping point between the Hudson and Delaware rivers. This led the town to develop and grow into a manufacturing hub for New Jersey, end quote. There were some people who ended up moving to Newark in the early 1800s due to it becoming the manufacturing hub for New Jersey. Seth Boyden Jr. was one of them, who opened the nation's first malleable iron foundry. This iron foundry helped with the production of buckles, harnesses, and other things that were used in the carriage industry. David Alling, who was a chair manufacturer, was also producing in Newark in the early 1800s. The shoemaking industry became 1/3 of Newark's labor force. By the 1830s, the Morris Canal was completed, and this would help raw materials flow through New Jersey. Then the completion of a railroad line to Jersey City in 1834 was able to cut travel time to New York. And of course, this helped because, quote, Newark's manufacturing success did come from selling manufactured goods to New York and from technical innovations and infrastructure projects, but trade with the South in the first half of the 1800s was a major contributor to Newark's success. As early as the 1790s, Newark was already manufacturing shoes and boots for Southern trade. This trade continued to grow with the American South to the point that numerous Southern states had conceded entire manufacturing industries to manufacturing cities, which in turn gave Newark massive profits for their manufactured goods, end quote. By the time of the Civil War, Newark had become one of New Jersey's biggest exporters of manufactured goods to the rest of the United States and other parts of the world. What's kind of sad is that nowadays Newark and Paterson are not the safest places to go to because of crime. That area has become the shell of what it once was. There are still some manufacturing companies and stuff, or how I was talking about Markel paper, so the toilet paper. They were in Elmwood Park, New Jersey. They recently, or not recently, but this was a couple of years ago already, there was a big fire and the whole place burnt down, but they are in the process of rebuilding. So it's just kind of sad to see where New Jersey was with manufacturing and how they were a hub and how Paterson and Newark were like booming at one point. And now it's just kind of the complete opposite of what it once was. I know that before we moved out of the state of New Jersey, there were a lot of places that were trying to open up again in Newark. I think there was like a Whole Foods or something that was trying to open up and trying to kind of get the cities back to maybe what they once were. But I don't know. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. But anyway, let's go ahead and get back to glitter. In present day, over 20,000 different types of glitter are made in many different sizes, colors, and materials, along with edible glitter as well. There are many different things that glitter is used for, but after the Microbead Free Waters Act of 2015, the use of microbeads in toothpaste and other rinse-off cosmetics had been discontinued in the United States. But due to this, in 2015, the industry changed and started using FDA-approved rinse-off metallized plastic glitter as the primary abrasive agent. Then we have glitter in arts and crafts, and this is a glitter that is impossible to get rid of, which I'm sure most of us have had this issue at some point in our lives. I still have glitter left over from an arts and crafts project my daughter and I did probably over a year ago, but I still love glitter and I still like using it in arts and crafts. But then we have glitter in coatings and finishes and things such as fishing lures. Something that I found really interesting about glitter, but also at the same time I'm not really surprised, is that glitter has also been very useful when it comes to forensic evidence. Due to the unique characteristics of all of the different types of glitters, they can be really great when it comes to evidence that a suspect has been at a crime scene. There is a forensic scientist by the name of Edwin Jones that has one of the largest collections of glitter that has over 1,000 different types of samples of glitter that have been taken from crime scenes, which is just wild and mind-blowing to me. Some researchers and zookeepers mix glitter into the animal's feed in order to be able to track the animal's feces by seeing their sparkly poops, which is actually something that gave me a little bit of a giggle when I was reading about it. But now, remember Henry Rushman, the inventor of glitter? Well, his son Henry W. Rushman developed holographic glitter in 1967. Due to the holographic part of it, this type of glitter is used in things such as credit cards, passports, and some countries' paper currency, along with some cosmetics and holiday packaging. As with most things nowadays, the more and more that we kind of research into things and learn more about things, modern day glitter has had quite the environmental impact. According to one source, quote, Trisha Farrelly, an environmental anthropologist at Massey University, has called for a ban on glitter made of polyethylene terephthalate. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but the acronym for it is PETE. And aluminum, as it is a microplastic that can leach hormonal disruptors into the environment. Furthermore, plastic glitter takes about 1,000 years to biodegrade, according to Victoria Miller, a materials and engineering scientist at North Carolina State University. When dozens of British music festivals pledged to ban single-use plastics by 2021, the proposed ban included plastic glitter, end quote. Because of this, biodegradable glitter has been something that has been invented, and biodegradable glitter is made out of eucalyptus tree extract, and it's metalled with aluminum and can be colored. It decomposes in soil or water, which is a step in the right direction. There is also something called cellulose glitter. Since October of 2024, there have been types of glitter that have been restricted in the European Union due to the ban on microplastics that are intentionally added to products. Now that I've given a brief history lesson into how glitter was invented and everything about it, let's get into the juicy bits of this video, which that is an interview that was conducted with the New York Times and a representative from GlitterX, which sent the internet into a frenzy and had people talking about the glitter conspiracy. The New York Times conducted an interview with a representative from the glitter company called GlitterX that is headquartered in Cranford, New Jersey. When asked who the company's biggest client was at the time, they responded with, quote, "I absolutely know that I can't tell you. You would never guess it." When asked why, the company replied with, quote, "Because they don't want anyone to know that it is glitter," end quote. I just want to take a moment to kind of say that I did work for this one company, a manufacturing company in New Jersey. And so we had certain government contracts and things like that we were not allowed to talk about what it was for, what company, like what government contractor it was for, or the thing that they're purchasing or anything like that. So I can kind of understand the employee saying, yeah, I know what it is, but I can't tell you because of like a secret, or they might have even signed NDAs. I know that I had to sign paperwork for it as well. For certain reasons, I think it's justified to do that with companies and like people that work for the company, because especially if it's some kind of a security thing, or if it is something that has to do with the government or military. Now, since I've covered so many conspiracy theories, I can't say the same for everything that goes on within the United States government, or, any of that kind of stuff. But anyway, let's just get back to it. So while I know that for some people, needing to know who the biggest purchaser of glitter is kind of like a must know, but the confidentiality might be for our own safety, as I had already stated. I mean, you never know, because if some glitter is used for things such as passports or credit cards, I'm sure some companies you would never think of are out there using glitter for certain things. There have been some who have said that there might be a glitter shortage. With all of that said, what did the people of the internet come up with as far as theories and who the biggest purchaser of glitter is or was at the time? So let's just go ahead and get into the theories. Of course, theories started rolling in when this interview was released, and they included things such as military, stealth tech and radar scattering, aerospace and satellite installation, car paint, road markings, luxury packaging, passports, currency, anti-counterfeit systems, toothpaste, nail polish, detergent, and processed foods. As we've already gone over with the history and uses of glitter, it's well known that passports, currency, cosmetics, some food, and a few others that are on that list do use glitter. So in my opinion, and judging by the interview, I don't think that those are who the representative is talking about, because that's no secret that glitter is used in those industries or for those things. There are a few theories that I wanted to go ahead and talk about a little bit further. In my opinion, I think that the military being one of the theories is the one that makes the most sense to me. And I say this because it might be in part due to the obituary that I shared earlier of Henry Rushman, who was the inventor of glitter, and how he worked on the Manhattan Project. So that's kind of one of the reasons why. But glitter is also more about precision cutting, and glitter companies work through third parties like Bendix or Westinghouse on a variety of military contracts. Can the GlitterX employee have also kind of planned this in order to get people talking about glitter again, or to even start talking about GlitterX as a company? I mean, sure, but glitter is in everything. Not everything. Let me rephrase that. It's in a lot of things. So I don't think that glitter is really hurting for business or anything, because just knowing all of the things that I use on a daily basis that have glitter in them, I mean, I don't see them hurting for any kind of business. But I mean, as I said earlier, it could be the military and that this employee just signed some kind of an NDA, because they, even in the article, it went into more about the interview and how it said like, oh, well, off the record, can you tell me? And it's like, no, I can't tell you off the record either. And I mean, obviously, why would you want to tell a reporter something that you're sworn to secrecy over? But it could be that this employee did sign some kind of an NDA. But the military being the biggest buyer is what that theory makes the most sense in my head. So you can disagree with me, and that's perfectly fine. Do I know what they're using glitter for? No, I have no idea. There are people out there who have theorized about it, but I don't know. I just, that's what makes the most sense in my head. And it's not that I don't know. I do know. But anyway, let's move along to another theory, and that is toothpaste. Toothpaste has been another theory that has circulated, and I really can't get on board with this theory because a lot of it has been debunked already. However, the reasoning behind this even being a theory was that glitter would give toothpaste that sparkly appearance, but they didn't want the public to know, so that there wouldn't be backlash against toothpaste companies when it comes to either ingesting, like accidentally ingesting the glitter or anything of that nature. So the first thing that has debunked this theory was the Microbead Free Waters Act, which I already talked about, but the US passed this in 2015, and it prohibits plastic flecks in products meant to be rinsed off, and due to this, it banned the use of traditional plastic glitter in most toothpastes. Another reason this has been debunked is due to the ingredient transparency. It is required by the FDA that any ingredient that is used in food or cosmetics is listed on the label. Companies like Crest have admitted to using decorative polyethylene flakes, also referred to as microplastic, for aesthetic purposes in the past. However, due to environmental reasons and regulations, they have phased those out. They have started to use mica, which, as I mentioned earlier in this video, is a natural mineral, and this was to replace the plastic glitter. So going back to how I talked about it being used in prehistoric times and mica being one of them, but this is the main reason why I don't believe toothpaste companies are the biggest purchasers of glitter, because the interviewee specifically stated that they can't tell us because their client doesn't want you to know that whatever it is glitter. And toothpaste companies have been pretty transparent about the use of glitter and their switch to mica. In addition, other toothpaste companies have openly stated that they contain water-soluble and food-grade glitter alternatives. So this theory, I don't agree with this one. When you think of the boating industry, for most, they think of men, since most men, and just FYI, I'm also well aware that women can be a part of this industry too. I do have a lot of friends that are women who are also, they're really big into the boating industry and things of that nature, but the majority are men. Some people were theorizing that the boating industry was the biggest buyer of glitter because, I mean, you can look at a boat and see the sparkling paint or in the boat or fishing lures. However, the theory is that the boating industry didn't want to admit to being the largest buyer due to it maybe hurting the masculine image of the boating industry. Now, while I can see why people would think this theory is very flawed because the automotive industry also contains glitter in their paint as well. And while as a woman I love cars, I know that the car industry is dominated by men. In addition, I know that there are men out there who have a fragile ego, and I'm sure that there's also men that don't want to be associated with glitter and they believe that it's feminine. Yeah, I don't think that they would be buying boats with literal glitter on it. The paints that are used on boats and products such as lure tape need to be able to withstand salt water, UV, wind, and wear. The glitter-like particles are added into the paint in order to reinforce the paint better, and it adds reflectivity and resilience. but as the paint chips off, it ends up breaking directly into the water, which is one of the ways that it impacts the environment negatively. So I don't think that the boating industry is the biggest purchaser of it, because we know that there is glitter in the paint, and also the automotive industry, same thing. So I can't get on board with that theory either. So this was a really fun conspiracy theory to research. Is it really that important? No, not really. But it was still interesting to kind of learn about how glitter was invented and how the production of glitter is actually precision cutting. Now, I know that I've already talked about who I think the biggest purchaser of glitter is, and that is the military. So you guys can let me know what you think, or if there are any other theories out there that have come about, and I will link that one video that I watched below, because it was like a documentary style, and it was really, really good, and they really tried to investigate as much as they could. And yeah, it was a super interesting video, so I will link that below. And yeah, so let me know what you think. Let me hear your theories, comments, questions, whatever below. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure to like if you liked it. Make sure to subscribe if you want to stick around. I kind of post videos about whatever I want, although the last few videos have been conspiracy theory videos. But I do kind of want to add a few more things. I have a to-do list of videos that I want to go over. So it's kind of all over the place. So if you just like learning about random things, yeah, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. This is Monica reporting to you live from the highway. Bye!